To understand the shockwave of 2011, you have to look at what the music industry was mass-producing at the time. The charts were heavily dominated by highly choreographed, heavily synthesized electronic dance pop spectacles. Adele had already found massive success with her acoustic, soulful debut album, 19. But entering her sophomore record, she wanted to avoid the dreaded difficult second album syndrome by purposefully writing a cheerful, upbeat record to fit into that commercial mold. That plan quickly hit a wall. She tried to force out optimistic tracks, but the sessions went nowhere. She suffered from crippling writer's block and eventually had to cancel her scheduled songwriting dates altogether. The music she was trying to create felt entirely hollow. It lacked the genuine vulnerability and emotion that originally made her voice so compelling. You can engineer a pop hook, but you cannot manufacture a genuine emotional state. To break through that creative dead end, she needed something real to happen. That real thing arrived in the form of a devastating romantic breakup. The concept of a joyful, optimistic sophomore album was immediately dead. Instead, she rushed back into the studio with a new, chaotic strategy. Working with a variety of producers, she began channeling her grief directly into the microphone, recording a series of rapid-fire, highly unpolished rough drafts. The record label had a standard playbook for this process. They would capture her messy, initial ideas on tape now, and then hand those files over to a legendary producer later, who would scrub them into a pristine, radio-ready final product. The industry viewed these early sessions as a means to an end. The raw heartache was treated as a messy stepping stone, something to be smoothed over and packaged before it ever reached the public. But those early, messy sessions had their own gravity. Working with producer Paul Epworth, Adele poured her frustration into a chord progression, writing Rolling in the Deep in 15 minutes. That driving, thunderous kick drum you hear on the track isn't a synthesizer. Epworth recorded Adele physically stomping on a hollow wooden step in the studio, capturing the sheer acoustic force of her anger. The same urgency drove her sessions with Ryan Tedder. Overwhelmed by grief, she stepped up to the microphone to record Rumor Has It and delivered the entire flawless vocal track in a single 10-minute take. These sessions captured a visceral energy, real pain hitting tape in real time, a texture engineering simply cannot replicate. Following the industry playbook, the label packed up those rough demos and moved them to Malibu, California for an expensive, high-end studio polish. They handed the tracks to legendary producer Rick Rubin. He took a traditional, analog